Listen up. I'm about to drop some info that's fresh off the wire, the kind of stuff you won't hear a lot of people talking about yet. This is hot information straight out of the oven, and only those of us who stick around the black and gold will get the inside scoop. Week 1 brought us a victory, but it also brought some serious drama inside the locker room. You want to know who was on blast even after the win? Before I drop today's bombs, let me be real with you. More than 90% of you watching right now haven't hit that subscribe button. You know what that means? It means you're missing out on the real Steel Nation talk, fan analysis for the fans. Don't slack, hit that button, and join our virtual bleachers. I'm going to be straight up with you, man. That week 1 victory came with a sour taste. Yeah, we beat the Jets 34-32, but if it weren't for that wild fourth quarter, we'd be crying into our beers at the bar. And you know who wasn't happy? Mike Tomlin himself. He delivered the public message. Our run defense was a disaster. And when the boss speaks, the nation has to listen. The numbers don't lie. The Jets ran the ball 39 times for 182 yards, averaging almost 5 yards per carry. That is way, way above what's acceptable for a defense that prides itself on the steel curtain of old. If you remember the 70s, you know, running against that wall was asking to be carried off the field. And yesterday, it was almost the opposite. Justin Fields, that familiar name, didn't even rack up that many total yards, but he did score 2 touchdowns with his legs. 2, it was tough to swallow. Tomlin didn't sugarcoat it. He said it was a mix of poorly executed schemes and individual talent from the opponent. There were RPO plays where we were in the right spot with the right number of defenders, and still they won. It's the same old story. When it's one-on-one against an athletic quarterback, the chance of things going south is high. And they did. The problem is we already knew this. It wasn't a surprise. So his frustration makes sense. But hang on, it's not all doom and gloom. There's good stuff on the horizon. Rookie Derek Harmon, our first-round pick, could debut soon. He's coming back from a knee injury, but since he wasn't placed on injured reserve, he could pop up at any moment. This kid is strong against the run. He could give the middle of our defense a whole new look. And listen, if he fits in well, he could become a household name like those we still remember. Guys like Casey Hampton holding down 2 blockers in the middle. Another point is that Terrell Austin's defense didn't just forget how to play. Last year, we were top 7 in EPA against the run. The numbers show the foundation is solid. It was more of a stumble than a full-on fall. And if we look at our next opponents, you can even breathe a little. Seattle, New England, and Minnesota don't even come close to the Jets' ground game. So if we adjust the basics, the chance for a positive regression is huge. But wait a minute. The real fan knows that a Tomlin rant isn't for nothing. He always pokes at a problem when he smells something bigger, and he already brought this up in week 1. It's not a small detail, it's a red alert. The question now is, will the defense respond fast, or will they let that ghost haunt them? And hold on, because while the defense was struggling against the run, another guy on the back end decided to ignite the game with a different kind of attitude. I'm telling you, no sugarcoating it, my man. One guy stole the show against the Jets, and it wasn't just for his play, but for pure provocation. Jaylen Ramsay. This dude brought that flavor that makes the crowd go wild. First, he hit hard, then he acted like a straight-up actor. The result? He caught everyone off guard, infuriated the opponents, and lit a fire under the game. The play happened right before halftime. Justin Fields scrambled. It looked like he was going to escape, and then a white blur appeared. Ramsay. Shoulder to the chest, the QB went down, and of course their lineman came to get in his face. But the key detail is what Ramsay did next. He flopped like he took an MMA hit, rolled on the turf, and then got up dancing. You can't help it. It makes you laugh and get mad at the same time. Cam Hayward, our veteran who doesn't mince words, said afterward that Ramsay was the guy who brought the energy the whole game, and you can't argue with that. That play, even if it was a little controversial, changed the team's momentum. In the second half, the defense looked like they'd had a double espresso. They played with fire in their eyes. It's so reminiscent of those times when Joey Porter would get in the opponent's face just to fire up the troops. If you saw it, you know how much weight that carries. Ramsay even said it without shame. I knew I could bait them into a flag. And he baited them beautifully. He managed to get their guard to lose his cool and gave us an easy 15 yards. For the real football heads, that's mental strategy. It's not just about hitting hard. It's a psychological game. He got in their heads. And listen, anyone who knows the history of old rivalries like Steelers and Raiders in the 70s knows that winning the emotional battle was half the fight. Fields tried to diffuse the situation later, saying it was a bit of a joke that he already had that relationship with Coach Denzel Martin. But the truth is, Ramsay marked his territory. He showed he's not afraid to face anyone. And DK Metcalf, who's had his own history with him, even confirmed that dude never backs down, ever. He's the type of defender the fans love and the rivals hate. To be honest with you, I'm all for that swagger. Sure, there's a limit. Nobody wants a dumb penalty at a crucial moment. But when it works, when it's a clean play and becomes fuel, it's a stroke of chaos genius. The fans go nuts. The defense gets a boost and the opponent loses their mind. That's what we saw. And the Steel Nation went hard on social media. Some even compared him to Polamalu, not for the acting, but for the intensity of being everywhere and striking fear. The difference is Ramsay adds that theatrical touch, which pisses them off even more. Now, if the defense had problems against the run and Ramsay became a villain hero in the same game, there's another subject on the table. What if the solution for the offense is to find a new piece outside? Look, something's on the horizon that could change the Steelers' offense for good. The conversation is heating up. Kenneth Walker could become a target for the front office. The buzz comes from Seattle, where the Seahawks have a lot of uncertainty in their backfield. Like Zach Charbonnet got more snaps than Walker himself in the game against the 49ers. That's a clear sign that the kid isn't being as valued over there. And when we see a talent like that sitting on the sidelines, the Steel Nation starts getting antsy. Walker is only 24, has already surpassed 2,500 yards, and has 25 touchdowns in the NFL. He's not just some prospect, he's the real deal. Strong, fast, good vision. He even looks like those running backs we used to admire from the old guard. Anyone who remembers Bettis bulldozing defenders will understand the comparison. Of course, Walker isn't the bus, but he brings that kind of impact of carrying the defense on his back. And honestly, right now, our run game is far from scary. In the opener, Jaylen Warren did his best, but only got 37 yards. Caleb Johnson, the rookie, had negative yards on his only attempt. That doesn't help. We need someone to take some pressure off of Rodgers because, let's be real, you can't put everything on the shoulders of a 41-year-old quarterback, no matter how much of a genius he is. Rodgers needs to breathe. He needs a consistent run game to open up Arthur Smith's playbook. That's where Walker comes in. The kid fits the system. He can hit the line with force and still has lateral burst. Imagine this guy running behind a decent offensive line, or at least decent on the right side since the left. Well, that's a topic for a little later. What I'm saying is that Walker would be an immediate piece to change the face of this offense. Fans in the group chats are already fired up. A lot of people are saying he'd be the right addition, better even than spending a draft pick on an experiment. And it's true. When you have a short window with Rodgers, you can't bet on the future. You have to go for the sure thing for right now. And Walker delivers that. He still has fuel for years. He's not a half-season bet. To be honest with you, I'd be hyped to see this trade. Of course, it would have a cost, maybe a high pick, maybe even a player involved. But the chance to have a reliable running back that keeps defenses honest is worth it. Without that, we risk becoming one-dimensional, and history shows a team that can't run well doesn't survive in January. Ask the old school fans if the dynasty didn't start with a dominant ground game. That's the Steel Curtain DNA. Now, think with me. If the front office is really thinking big, they can't just look at the backfield. There's a critical position that's leaving Rodgers exposed. I'll be blunt. If there's one thing that worried me in that opener, it was the left tackle position. Broderick Jones, our first-round pick from a couple of years ago, just isn't holding up. And that, my friend, is extremely dangerous when you have Aaron Rodgers under center, already 41 with reduced mobility. You can't mess around with that. Against the Jets, Jones was up against Will McDonald, IV, who's no Hall of Famer yet, but he showed all his explosiveness. The result, 2 sacks, 3 hits on Rodgers, and constant pressure. According to Pro Football Focus, there were 13 pressures on our QB alone. 13. That's an invitation for disaster. Rodgers doesn't have the agility he had 10 years ago. He doesn't escape the same way. When the line breaks, the play dies, and we saw that in real time. It's tough to say because Jones isn't lazy. The guy has talent. He works hard, but he doesn't seem ready to be a starting tackle on a team that wants to win a title right now. Maybe with more time, he'll become a solid player. But the Steelers don't have time. This year is all in. The front office didn't bring in Rodgers to think about 2026. It's about winning now, and that means protecting the QB's blind side like it's gold. It even reminds me of the old days when Ben Roethlisberger took hit after hit because the line wasn't at the right level. The difference is Big Ben was younger, could take a beating and still escape with that awkward style. Rodgers today doesn't have that extra gear. Every hit could be the last one, and the older fans know all too well a QB lost to injury has ended a season before. The internal options, Anderson, Pete, Dylan Cook, nothing to get excited about. They're placeholders, not solutions. The free agency market is dry and a trade is way too expensive, but doing nothing is suicide. The front office will have to find a way out, even if it hurts, because the way it is, the offensive ceiling falls with every sack taken. The Steel Nation is already buzzing in the group chats. Some people are calling for aggression, trade a pick, solve it now. Others think we can still wait for Jones to evolve. But the truth is, every game with an unprotected Rodgers is a huge risk. You can't be patient when the window is short. And I'll tell you what, if this problem isn't fixed now, you can bury our January chances. Oh, and hold on, because everything we've talked about, the defense failing against the run, Ramsay igniting the game, a potential trade for Walker, and now the left tackle issue, all comes together in one conclusion that's going to hit you hard. You know what it comes down to, man. This game made it clear that the Steelers are in one of those moments that define a season. The defense can't repeat the hole against the run. Ramsay showed how energy changes the vibe. The offense is begging for new blood in the backfield, and Rodgers needs urgent protection. It's all connected, not separate. I dare say if the front office has the guts now, this team becomes a real contender. So comment below, because this is the home of the real Black and Gold Nation, and the next chapter is going to be fire.